Thank you, Blair. And everyone, how does that feel? Feels good, huh? And we got our exercise for today, too. I think I need a drink of water first.
Is that real water?
Holy water. So it's great to be back with all of you here, and thank you. Just feeling that love in the room that we create, and I'm reminded that when we sing together, we breathe together. It really help us to embody that feeling of oneness when we do that. So we begin with a story today. There was a 60-year-old couple who was celebrating their 40th wedding anniversary. And during the party, a fairy showed up. And she said, "Since you have both been such a loving couple all of these years, I'm going to grant you each one wish." So the wife closed her eyes and she said, "You know, all these years we've been on such a tight budget. What I would really love is to travel the world with my husband." And so the fairy waved her wand and poof, the wife had tickets in her hand. And then it was the husband's turn, and without even thinking, he blurted out, "I want to be married to someone 30 years younger than me." So the fairy waved her wand, and poof, he was 90. Have you ever wanted to turn back time? That's such a cautionary tale in many ways, isn't it? It's tempting sometimes. We want to turn back time. And having had a birthday this month, I had to remind myself again that time is a human invention, and that the only power time has is the power we give it. You know? So we have a choice about, are we going to, make it about the number and what society says you can do or not do at that number? Or are we going to focus on the richness of our life experience that is always in this now moment? Reflecting on this, society has some pretty limiting ideas about numbers, about being acceptable and worthy in our culture, from the number in our bank account, to the size of clothing we wear, to the number of birthday candles on the cake. And we have a choice to buy into that or to entertain more fun and uplifting possibilities. But sometimes it can seem like we live in this narrow lane of, "Oh, you're too young, you don't know anything." Anybody hear that growing up? You're just a kid, you don't know anything. I hear millennials getting a lot of that today. And who is a millennial in their life? If you do, we need to love them up and let them know that they're valued and worthy and have great ideas. So this narrow lane of, you're too young to know anything, and then the other side of, oh, go sit down, you're too old to do anything. So we have a choice, don't we, about what is coming through us to do, be, and have, instead of following what we hear in the news or in society. Because in truth, we are never too young or too old to receive a divine idea and make a difference. And that divine life is always now, active and alive within me, within you, within us. Now. It's in this now moment. It's in all of us at every age. So I love this topic that we're talking about today, that we are ageless spirits living in this timeless mind of God. And doing this in this wonderful Earth School uniform, in this world of form. So we're these eternal beings in this form, we're navigating this world of form. And isn't that the spiritual journey? To have fun with it, be at peace with it, to discover who we truly are and live from that deeper joy. And isn't that why we gather here each week, to remind ourselves that we live in this infinite realm, to celebrate this infinite good we call God, in which we live, move, and have our being. We learn more ease with putting on the mind of Christ, to be more light, to be more love, to be more joy, because we know the world is calling for that, isn't it? And it seems like some days it's a shout, a persistent shout, to send more love, to be more light, to show more kindness. So we get to decide whether we will subscribe to ideas of constriction or construction, limitation or expansion. So try these on. In her Greek family, my friend tells me that no one asks how old you are. Instead, the question is, how many years wise are you? A Buddhist friend celebrates she doesn't call them birthdays, she calls them revolutions around the sun. And I have a guy friend who says, you know what, to him, aging doesn't matter, because if you don't mind, it doesn't matter. But what does matter is to honor our soul's journey. That we are these multi-dimensional, eternal beings navigating this life experience. And all that we have experienced, the delightful and the difficult, the sorrowful and the joyful, the expected and the unexpected, all that we have done, felt, and experienced is part of our journey, and it has value. No experience is wasted or for nothing. A lot of times as a minister, I would hear, oh, if I only found unity sooner, these spiritual principles sooner. But you know what? You're in the right time at the right place. Because everything that you have been through, that we have been through in our lives, leads us to this now moment, to be able to open to this awareness and live more from it. So I borrowed part of my title from Deepak Chopra, who has a book called Ageless Body, Timeless Mind. Has anybody read that book? Yeah, that's a great book. He has a lot of suggestions about what we can do to promote longevity with exercise, food, and other habits. And he also talks about the importance of having a flexible mind and a clear heart to live long and prosper. I can't do the Star Trek thing. So a flexible mind, meaning stay curious. You know, that's such a freeing thing to do. Instead of getting upset, get curious about something. And that helps us remain teachable and stay open to new ideas. Having a clear heart to forgive, to let go of the past, to reinvest our energy in the present. I like the theme this year in this community, the art of abundance. Are you enjoying that too? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And time is an area also where we can feel abundant, but that we often overlook. Like, how many of you, or how often do you tell yourself, I don't have enough time? It just pops out of the mouth, right? But what would it feel like to know that even in this area too, that you are abundant? That you have all the time and all the energy to do what is yours to do. That's the key part of it. Do what is yours to do. Help. Okay. I love this from Charles Fillmore. Can you read this with me? We'll just try that on. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. Age 93. Yeah. And you think about all the things he did in his life with the publishing, the preaching, the teaching, and he always went to the Spirit of truth first, and things naturally unfolded. So we all have this ageless spirit within us that keeps us engaged in the game of life. It can never tire, expire, or disappear. We might call it the Christ within. And this divine life stands ready to press out through us as more creativity, more good, more love. Even in the face of change, challenge, or disappointment. So perhaps you've heard about the 96-year-old man from Taiwan named Huang Yongfu, whose village was about to be demolished. And so one by one, all of the villagers were leaving until all of his friends left, and he was the only one left. And he had no family, nowhere to go. And when he received his final letter from the government to leave, instead of packing, he felt moved to pick up a paintbrush and start painting. Something he hadn't done since he was a boy. He'd had his whole career as a soldier, but this voice said, pick up the paintbrush. So he started painting his bungalow with birds and cats and people and airplanes, and soon it just started spreading all over his bungalow in these very bright colors. And then it started spilling out into the streets. And one night a student from the university came and talked with him and heard about his story and was so moved that he started a fundraiser to help get Huang all the paint he needed. And he also started a petition to save the village. So, you know how word of mouth happens. So this word got out, and people were so moved by Huang's passion for painting and this young man who was helping him that they bombarded the mayor with requests to stop the demolition and save the village. And so after the mayor received 80,000 emails, he ordered a stop to the demolition and designated the buildings that were left in the surrounding area to be preserved as a park, a public park. Huang was nicknamed Rainbow Grandpa because of the joy he brought with his art and the colors he brought. And so he was allowed to remain in his home, and he still spends every day getting up to paint. And people come to visit him. Over 1 million visitors a year come to his art village. All because he followed that still small voice and picked up the paintbrush. That's the thing about when we listen to that inner voice that the logical mind could argue with. When we listen to that inner voice and follow, not only are we blessed, but countless of others are blessed as well. So now, all of these visitors come to talk with them and have fun in his, it's like a mural city, I want to call it, you know?
Point it behind you.
Point it behind me, okay.
There.
And if you go online, you can see just all of he paints the streets too. Just his joy comes through, and he brings joy to other people as well. So there are divine ideas right now within you, all around you too, waiting to be received by you. Will you take time this week to allow them to come to find? Yeah. So Jesus had some advice about this. He said, "Truly, I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." How many have spent time with children lately? Yeah, they're so fully in the moment, aren't they? You know, they just dive right in with all of their senses. They're just all in the moment. And I've really enjoyed spending time with my 7-month-old grandson. This isn't him, but it could be. And he's such a curious and happy guy, you know? But when he's hungry or it's diaper time, boy, he's not shy about letting you know. And even though he's in this little body, you know, sometimes he'll just smile at me and raise an eyebrow and just look at me like he's this timeless soul that's just so amused at me singing Baby Shark to him or whatever the kids song. So when we become as little children, we release that outer societal conditioning of restrictions and we open to the wonder that is right here, right now, in this present moment. We know that the kingdom of heaven is a here and now experience, don't we? Within us and among us. And it's portable. We take it wherever we go. So this ageless spirit has its own time zone of the eternal now. Would you like a clock like that? I would too. The Greeks had 2 words for time, chronos and kairos. And chronos refers to measurement of the quantity of time, of minutes, hours, days, and so forth, what the Western world runs on. But kairos time is different. It's all about the quality of the experience. And it recognizes the perfection of the present moment, where you wouldn't change a thing. Have you had those moments? Yeah. We notice this kairos time when synchronicities happen. I sent Blair a message when he sent me the songs. I said, you know what? This morning I was just singing God Before Me, that song. When we connect in this ageless, timeless space, synchronicities, coincidences. Einstein said that coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. Kairos time can also refer to the opportune time, divine timing, we might call it, where everything just falls into place easily. And how often do we try to rush that? Waiting, God, I'm waiting. But we enter into Kairos time when we cease pushing and trying to make something happen, and we move into a state of allowing and noticing the richness of the experience, trusting that all will unfold in the fullness of time. So we can invite more of this Kairos time into our lives by becoming still and listening to divine direction, spending time in the silence and prayer and meditation, having mindful moments in nature, being fully present with another, not thinking about what you're going to say next or what you're going to have for lunch, but just being very present in the space of what is with the person. We enter into it when we do something we love, and I'm sure you've all had that experience where you're engaged in something and you think it's been 5 minutes and it's been 5 hours, because this time is elastic. There's this Greek island called Ikaria. Has anyone heard of that? It's called the island where people forget to grow old. And the bulk of the population is 80 and up, and they report great satisfaction in their lives. They are very active. They walk every day, they go swimming, they have fresh air, they grow their own food, they take naps every day. And none of the businesses have posted hours, because everyone understands that if the owner needs to take a nap or go visit a friend or go for a swim, the shop's going to be closed. In this community, listening to one's inner rhythm is more important than obeying the clocks. And on this island, the most important aspect is their strong social connection. They eat meals together, they gather to talk every day or play cards, drink wine. They look out for each other and they care for each other. Doesn't that sound like heaven on earth? We can create that too, right? So if we're ever feeling pushed by the clock, and I was thinking about all the kind of passive-aggressive terms we have for time, like stop time, beat the clock, punch the time card. A little anger there maybe, or frustration. If we're ever feeling pushed by the clock, here's what we can affirm. I'm in the right place at the right time with the right people at the right pace. Let's say this together. I'm in the right place at the right time with the right people at the right place. One more time. I'm in the right place at the right time with the right people at the right pace. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you.